Yo, what's up guys? I just wanted to start doing some videos on our 1968 Chevy C10 build. I got this truck a couple years ago, so check it out. Now when I got this truck a couple years ago, it looked pretty much just like this. I didn't do too much to it, but I did drop the rear end out and put a new rear end in it. It had a blown up rear end, so it was all seized and locked up. So we put a posi rear end in. Right now it's 6 lug in the rear and 5 in the front. I do have some spacers and adapters to get it to where it's all 5 lug, but later on when we figure out what wheels and tires we're gonna run, we'll switch it out. So it is on factory 4-link type suspension, and somebody did put rear airbags in place of the spring. We may or may not keep that. We'll probably end up modifying that a little bit. We'll probably end up putting an air tank in and doing the front bags as well. We did, just pop the hood here. We did full fluids. We changed the transmission fluid. We did the rear gear oil. We did brand new rear brakes. We did spark plugs, cap, rotor, spark plug wires, K&N air filter. We did new fuel filter, some fuel line. We changed the fuel pump. We do need to get a side post battery, and we're going to end up changing these cables to side post terminals as well. We haven't redone the wiring inside the truck, but I did clean it up, what was there. Later on we will probably end up redoing a lot of the wiring. We're going to get rid of this ugly cover here and probably end up changing out the radiator and the hoses and stuff as well. Now you can see this side of the truck already is kind of partially stripped down and a little bit of body work done to it. Now when I first got this truck, it was in pretty rough shape. The bumpers were tweaked and stuff, and I was going to build it, paint it Lamborghini lime green pearl, and flip the truck. Now as I got into the truck, ended up being a lot more work than I wanted it to be. The rockers were already replaced, which was nice, but there was still a lot of rust and some patches to do on this truck. So basically I got rid of the factory bumpers that were all bent up. I did front and rear roll pan. I started kind of welding up some holes, welded up the mirror holes, and was gonna give it that little shaved look, which isn't traditional, but this truck was not clean. It was missing pretty much all its trim and everything, so I ended up using that color. Now this tailgate was pretty hammered. It was all dented up right where all the Chevrolet letters were, and I really wanted to keep those letters, so I actually drilled holes and had to pound out the dents and then weld them back up. We're trying to make this a shop truck. We're not trying to restore it. We're not trying to make it perfect. We're just gonna make it a shop truck. We're gonna give it kind of a vintagey look. We're gonna end up treating the rust, killing the rust. We're gonna get it all sanded down. We're gonna give it a couple coats of high build primer. And then we're gonna do a satin hot rod black on it. See that rear roll pan? Now the paint we're going to use is a Eurochem single stage. It's a satin hot rod black. It says gloss, but it's actually not a gloss. I already did a spray out. It is kind of a substitute for the SEM trim black or hot rod black that they have. So this will have a little bit of a sheen to it, and then a protection for the UV as well. So it's a 4 to 1 to 1. I did a spray out about a week ago, and this was just some leftover paint that I just kind of kept in the cup as a test to see how fast it shrinks and how fast it cures. And it's been about a week, and it's about an inch of paint, and it's already shrunk up in the cup there. Here's a spray out of the color, guys. You can see that it's not really glossy, but it's not flat either. It is a satin black that has a little sheen to it. It'll probably die out a little bit in the sun after a couple years, but yeah, I'm excited to try this. Now the original color we were going to use for this was the Lamborghini Lime Green Pearl, but we used that on a 93 Honda Del Sol project. So a little change of plans. We're just gonna give it a satin hot rod black finish. We're not gonna fix all the bodywork perfect. We're not gonna fix all the holes. We're not gonna fix all the rust and the rot. We're gonna keep it clean. We're gonna do a detailed job of getting it cleaned up, protected, and coated in the hot rod black, as well as some black epoxy primer on the inside. We're probably gonna do some bed liner on the inside of the bed just because it's not perfect. We're gonna treat the rust, sand it, and do an epoxy primer and probably Raptor liner it. Now, one thing we did have to do is the fuel tank was in pretty rough shape. So we did install a brand new fuel tank. We actually have a new rubber seal as well to fit this properly. It's not on yet. We'll install that after it's sprayed. So let's start this thing up. It's running pretty good. It only has about one leak right now coming out of the power steering pump, so we'll have to look into that. Power steering pump's making a little bit of noise too. So we'll decide whether or not we want to replace that or just deal with the leak. It had a transmission leak. We went ahead and fixed that. We replaced all the U-joints, new rear drum brakes as well. Now we do have a few new goodies for this vehicle. We have a new rubber seal for the windshield. So when we go to paint it, we'll probably pull this glass out and get rid of this mess. The glass isn't perfect. It does have a little chip, but overall it's in pretty good shape. I'm not too worried about it. It doesn't need to be a brand new vehicle. It doesn't need to be show quality. So we'll just replace the seal and reinstall the windshield after paint. Now, we also have the spacers and wheel adapters from 6-lug to 5-lug, as I was talking about earlier. I did keep a lot of the lights and lenses, but we'll probably end up throwing these away and replacing all the lighting altogether. In here, we have brand new door lock cylinders. There's that new gas tank seals I was talking about. These are the original emblems. I did have to buy one online. Now, I did restore them. I polished them up and repainted the insides red as they are originally. I'm not sure if I'll keep that color, if we'll change it up and have some sort of scheme. We might do some like vintage door logos on the door after it's black. Maybe we'll give it kind of like a rat rod shop truck look, as well as reinstall the emblems, but not sure on the color yet on these, so we'll decide. I repainted the two fender emblems and the front grille emblem as well. Now, a lot of the chrome is pitted and old, but that's okay. So I just polished it all up. The headlight rings, I have under here, it's hard to see, but I did recoat the headlight buckets. I treated them and painted them, so they're ready to go. We do have to buy one new door handle for the right hand side, so we'll have to pick up a new door handle. Here's the LED light for the rear roll pan for the license plate. Yeah, windshield wiper arms. The rear glass is in good shape. Luckily the seal's not in bad shape, so we'll probably actually pretty much leave that installed. And we're gonna pull this bed. We're gonna fix that a little bit. So yeah, it's not a bad truck. It's got a good little seat in it. It's nothing fancy. We'll probably at some point sanding the whole inside of the cab and doing a black epoxy in here as well, and changing that top dash pad to the one here. So it'll be a clean little truck. It doesn't need to be perfect. Just a little parts runner, something to go down and get ice cream in. It'll be fun. Now, I'm still not really sure on the wheels and tire setup right now. I am thinking about converting the front suspension to air, so I might do a whole airbag setup. Now, it doesn't need a lay frame. I don't need to do any heavy modifications or anything, but if it just kind of was able to pull up and just and set down low, and then when I'm ready to drive it, go back up to ride height, that'd be kind of cool. So we'll figure out something. I do feel like it needs some sort of hot rod style wheel, so we'll see what we come up with. But as of right now, it's in the shop. We've done a full degreasing and pressure wash inside the engine compartment, the frame, the wheel wells, wheels, tires, the bed, everything. We've got rid of the moss. We took the cowl loose, we cleaned inside there. So we are gonna remove this panel and paint it before we reinstall. So when it's all said and done, this truck will be a satin hot rod black, and we're probably gonna end up doing some Nitro Autolab vintage looking door logos. And maybe we'll sand through it in some spots and make it look kind of patinaed. And then we'll figure out something for wheels and tires. This truck actually does stop, run, and drive just like it's supposed to. So it's in the shop right now. We're gonna move forward with the bodywork and get this thing sprayed. Now, one thing I did find that was kind of cool is I found this old vintage Stillen lower front valance. It is to a newer Chevy, but I am gonna retrofit it on the front end of this lower front roll pan. So I'll have to make some brackets and get that mounted. So the front will have a real aggressive, low look. It should look pretty mean in the front, all black. I am gonna run the original metal door panels. I am missing the driver's side, so I will have to locate one door panel. Now, when I'm all said and done, I'm going to install the headlight buckets, and I think I'm gonna do like a crystal clear, kind of OEM looking style headlight housing with an LED bulb in it. So it'll kind of still retain its original vintage look, but it will have a modern bulb in it. So, and we're gonna replace the front side markers as well as the blinkers and the tail lights. They'll all be new, and as well as the rear side markers as well. So I'm not very good at speaking on camera yet. I'm a little bit camera shy right now. So as time goes on, I should get a little bit better and the videos should get a lot more interesting. So if you could please click that subscribe button, I'd really appreciate it, and we'll get some more videos on his way. Thanks, bye.